I'll demonstrate you how to connect to various data sources using Power BI desktop. I just go to the Power BI desktop. Okay. So in the Power BI desktop, you can see an icon, like this, right? This is same as your Excel file icon. And when you open Excel, you can find the same icon. So what Microsoft they did it, certain icons they kept it similar to the Excel icons. Okay, and also the text also just beneath the icon you can see the get data, the same text and the same icon you can find it in Excel sheet also. Okay, for the Excel users it will be very easier for them to understand, or they understand the navigation, so where to click on to load the data into Power BI. Okay, so now I'm going to click on this one, get data. So I'm going to import an Excel workbook. So look here, you have various options here. Depend on the data sources, you can choose the appropriate data source to load the data. For example, I want to import the Excel workbook. If I want to import the database, you need to click on this. I will show you what is, I will explain you what is database and why database is required, and how to import the data from database, and how to connect, first of all, how to connect to database. Everything I will show you. To start with, we will import a simple Excel file. So what I do is, I will just import another simple file. So I'm going to use some CSV file. Okay. To import a CSV file also you can use the Excel one. So now I'm importing the sales underscore w04.csv file into my Power BI desktop. As soon as I selected this file, the Power BI established a connection with this file. Okay, now you can see extract table using examples, and load and transform data button, and you have cancel button. If you click on cancel, this file will not get loaded into my Power BI desktop. Transform data is to clean the data. Okay, to clean the data. So when you click on transform data, it will take you to the Power Query editor. I don't want to do any transformation now, and also I don't want to extract this table using some examples. We'll explain you later what this one is all about. At this moment, I click on the load button to load the data into my Power BI desktop. It will take some time to load the data into your Power BI desktop. It depends on the size of your file. If the size of the file is bigger, it will take longer time to load the data into your Power BI desktop. Now it got loaded. So how do I make sure that this file got loaded? Just if you go on the right side, extreme right side, you can find something called fields pane. When you expand this one, you can see underneath this fields pane the file here. Already I imported these two files, and now I imported another file. Okay, the sales W04. Now I wanted to see the columns that are part of this table. See, look here. I imported .csv file, sales w04.csv file. .csv stands for comma separated value. Okay, I imported this file, but as soon as it got imported into Power BI desktop memory, right, what happens? It it considered this one as a table. Look here, this icon is meant for table. Even if you load JSON file, even if you load any type of file, the Power BI consider them as a table. Okay, if I expand this one, you can see the columns that are related to this table. So these are the columns that are there in this table. Fine, I just go to the left side. I'm going to click on the data view. The data view, when I click on the sales W04, I can see the data that are available in this table. These are the data that are available in this table. Fine. So you can scroll across the right side, toward the right side, and you can scroll toward the left side, and you can see the column name, everything that is available here. Okay. Now you understood how to import a simple comma separated value file into Power BI desktop. Okay, now I'll show you how to import a JSON file. Okay, so the JSON file, let's say my customer, they have given me JSON file. Okay, how do I open the JSON file using Power BI desktop? I don't see any option here to import the JSON file. I cannot use the Excel work, this Excel workbook option. I cannot use it to import the JSON file. It will say, it is not the right way of doing it, isn't it? You cannot use Excel workbook option to import some other format of the file. So you need to click on more to find out, are there any other option is available in order to load the JSON file into my Power BI desktop. I just clicked on the more. I just clicked on the more there. So now it is opening. It is trying to show other options that are available. Look here, the JSON option is available here, right? So you need to select the JSON, connect, click connect. Next I need to load a JSON file here. And I'm going to click on the data files, and I have something like customer.json file is already there in my system. I just selected the file customer.json. It automatically opened this one. So the customer file has these columns. One second, I am going to just, this JSON file doesn't contain much information. I'll open another JSON file. This has hardly 3 rows are there. And let me open another JSON file which has, reasonably, it has more number of records in it. Wait for some time. I'm going to select something called products_data.json. That file has the reasonable amount of records in it. You can notice something different here, isn't it? When I loaded the .csv file, the comma separated file or Excel file, I was able to load it in my Power BI desktop without opening the Power Query editor. But when I used the JSON file, to import it here, it automatically opens the Power Query editor. Okay, so it automatically opened the JSON file. So now what I do is I could see that the product number, all the columns that are part of this JSON file, I can see it here. Here I don't have to expand this one. In the older version, you need to expand the data that are part of the JSON file. We have something called double arrow here. It is not there in the latest version of Power BI desktop. Okay, you don't have that headache. So now when I open the JSON file using the get data icon, it opened the Power Query editor. Okay, so this is applicable only for the JSON file. For other files, it will not open the Power Query editor. Okay, now what I do is I just go ahead and click on close and apply. I'll explain you what is close and apply little later. The JSON data, now it gets loaded into memory, Power BI memory. 397 records got loaded in my Power BI memory. Fine. So this is how you can import the Power BI. This is how you can import the JSON file into your Power BI desktop. Next one is we have something called database. What is database? First of all, we will import the data from database. What is database? It is Microsoft product. Okay, the database, the Microsoft product allows us to connect directly to your data using Power BI desktop to create reports and publish them to Power BI. Let's say you have a data file. Let's say you have a table. You hosted it on database. Okay, what is a database? Database, Microsoft cloud-based storage system to store your data in a secured way. Instead of storing your data in your laptop, you want to store your data in the database on the cloud in a secured way, right? So Microsoft, they have a Power App option called database, using which you can store your data on cloud instead of storing the data in your laptop. And also this can be shared for your other users in your organization. For security reason, you store the data in your Microsoft database cloud. Okay, now I will show you how to connect to database, the Microsoft cloud. Okay, and then how do I import the table from the database to my local Power BI desktop. I just click on the database, or you can click on the get data. In the get data also you can find the database option there, using which you can connect to the database. Look here, since already I have connection to database, it is directly connecting there. I will show you how. The first time it will not take you directly here. So you have something called Power Apps, powerapps.microsoft.com. You need to sign in here. For this, you need to create a username and password. You need to register it on this website. Okay, you need to create a credentials right in this website. Once you register, it will give you the credentials. I don't think so you need the official email ID to create this one. Okay, fine. Now on the left side you can see database, make.powerapps.com. remember this. Okay, once you log in here and if you click on the database, when you expand it, just beneath this you will find tables, choices, data flows, everything. We don't need all the things. All I need is a table. I wanted to import a specific table into my Power BI desktop. Now I can see these many number of tables: account, address, appointment. These are tables. Okay, I just want to click on this account table. When I click on this, I have various options are available. If I want to view the columns of this account table, you can click on columns. If I want to see the data that are part of this account table, click on the data here. Okay, look at these are the data stored into this account table. And if you want to see the relationship, click on it. And if you are so curious to see various other things, right? For example, business rules, you can probably, once you create the login credential, once you create a user ID, we can explore all these things. Okay, at this moment what I am going to do is, see, now I have shown you under database what are the tables are there, how to view the specific columns of a table, how to view the data in a table, right? You can say this is how you can say it. In your case, what you need to do is click on this gear icon. Look here on the right top corner. Look here, my cursor is here. You click on the settings. If you come down here, session details, you will find something called session details. When you click on this, you will find something like instance URL. You need to copy only this one. Don't copy https://. Right? You need to specify. You need to copy only this domain name. This is called domain name. Okay, right click on it and copy it, and then in your Power BI desktop, you need to specify it. For example, in this case, in my case, it is already connected. Okay, in my case, it is already okay. I cannot do. So what I do is, best thing, I'll open another Power BI desktop. In simple term, the database helps you to store your data in a very secured manner, and it's a cloud-based storage option for the organization. Look here, this is my username. Look here, it is asking for the username password. 1 second, let me. Now it is asking for the username and password. Okay, and okay, this time let me do one thing. I just hold up on the other one. Okay, so now here itself it is working. I'll just click on this one more time, database. Simple. So whatever the username and password you received it from this website, right? When whatever the username and password you created it here on the Power Apps, using which you need to connect it. It will ask you the username. So now it is not asking me I don't know. So why it was asking that time? 1 second. Anyhow, I open the new Power BI desktop application now. What I do is, now I'm going to click on the database. I think only when I close these two applications, it will ask the username and password. See, when you click on the database, it will ask you the username and password for your. Look here, even in this case, it is directly connected. Since I already connected it, it is not asking the username and password. First time when you connect to the database from your Power BI desktop, when you click on this, it will ask you the username and password for your this one, database. Okay, this is the one, username, password. You need to give the username and password. Once you give the username and password, it will get stored like cookies. It will get stored automatically, permanently. Okay. In my case, that is what happened. Look here, it connected to database now. I'm going to expand this one now. It will list down all the tables that are available on database. Look here, I just click on this one again. Account, address, appointment, attachment, all these tables. I don't need to load all these tables into my Power BI desktop. I need to load only the account table in my Power BI desktop. Look here, I just selected only the account and I'm going to click on the load button. So you have two options here, import and direct query. You have two options here, import and direct query. If you click on direct query, it will become a live connection. Live connection. Please note it down. In the interview, they'll ask you what is the difference between import data and live connection. Okay, in the case of live connection, there are three types of data sources only. The live connection is supported. The direct query. One is SQL query, SQL server. Okay, SQL server, and the other one is SQL server analysis services. Okay, SQL server analysis services, and the other one is SQL server. Third one is the Power BI data sets. Okay, for these three data sources, you will have two options, import or direct query. Okay, now what I do is I will click on import and we will explore these two options. What is the difference between these two options? We will explore it. First we'll start with import. I'll just click on OK. Now the table account from the cloud data warehouse gets imported into my Power BI desktop with the data. Now it is creating a connection with that model, with the cloud table. Look here, account, loading data to model. So this is what my model. It is load the data to this model. 10 rows, only 10 rows are there. One way it is good. 10 rows got loaded here. Where is this? Is my account table, right? So if I want to see the columns that are part of this account table, my God, so many columns are there. Okay, so many columns are there. If I want to view the data here of this table, just go here and click on the account table. This is the one we imported from the cloud. Look here. If you look at the bottom here, on the left corner bottom, 10 rows are there. Okay, in this case we can just by eyeballing this we can count it. If you have more number of records, you need to scroll down. It will take more time, but instead you can look at here to understand how many number of rows are there in this table. Okay, to find out that you can look at it here. Okay, so now 10 rows are there and we have more columns are there. If you want to see other columns data, you need to scroll towards the right side. By scrolling towards the right side and left side, you can see the content of the data in all the columns. Fine, these are the data are there. Okay, now I just go ahead and clicking this report view. I'm going to create a simple report. I just click on this pie chart just beneath this visualizations pane. I just click on this one, double click on this one. As soon as I double clicked on this one, it gets moved automatically to the report canvas. This is my report canvas. I'm going to resize this pie chart visual. Fine. So next what I do is, so I have something called, I have a column by the name of name here. You have a column by the name of name here. Look here, I just drag and drop this column here, name, and here's something called number of employees or something. I just drag and drop this one here. Look here, I imported the data from Dataverse, from the cloud, and then I created a visual. On the right side of the visual, you can see two fields here. In this case, we can see three fields: name, details, and values. Okay, so you do, anyhow, I'll explain this later. Which column needs to be dragged and dropped in which field, we will see it later. But the simple way of plotting the chart is simply drag and drop the column that you wanted to plot it, inside your visual. Simply I just dragged and dropped the name inside of this visual, and then I dragged and dropped the number of employees inside this visual, pie chart visual. It automatically created, it automatically assign the column names to the respective field. So in the legend, name is there, and the values you have number of employees. So one categorical variable, one numerical variable. Okay, so with that we are able to plot a simple chart here. So how to import the data from cloud, the Dataverse cloud. Right, so Dataverse is a cloud-based storage. It is a Microsoft product, okay, or cloud-based service. You can download it. This is one way of importing the data. So in this case, what happened? We have, while importing this table, account table from Dataverse, we have used the option import. In that case, what happened? It imported the entire data from the Dataverse cloud to my local Power BI desktop memory. Fine. I don't want the entire, see in this case hardly we have 10 records. If I have 1 million records or 10 million records, it will take longer time to load it into my Power BI desktop, and also it will consume too much of time. I don't want to perform any kind of in-memory process in my Power BI desktop. Okay, what I do is I use another option. I'll show you that one also. For the time being, what I do is I just go ahead and delete this table from my Power BI model. So look here, if you go to the data model, the account table, look here, account table, whatever you input, right? So that is available here also. If I click on this ellipses, these three dots are called ellipses. If I click on this, you will have more options. You will find something called delete from model. I'm going to remove this table now. Why? Because I wanted to show you, or I want to demonstrate you the difference between import and direct mode. So now I'm going to import the same table using direct mode. Now this visual became empty. It shows something, some kind of error, something wrong with one or more fields. If you click on fix this, it shows blank, right? So the blank visual. So what I do is I'm going to connect to my Dataverse once again. I just click on the account table, click on load. Look here, now it is asking for import or direct query. I'm going to select direct query now. Click OK. Since I have used the direct option to import the table, it will not import the entire account table data into my Power BI desktop. It is not going to import the account table data into my Power BI desktop. Instead, it will import the metadata. The data will remain on the source system itself. What is the source system? In my case, the source system is this one. The data in this account table will remain here itself. Instead, the columns, whatever the column, you just think that way, now at this moment, the columns, only the columns and the data types, right? That one gets imported here. Look here, that account table got imported now using direct mode. With the direct mode also, you can see all the columns that are part of this account table. Now, if I wanted to see the account tables data You can go to the data view, but it will not be visible here. This data is related to big box, but I want to see the account data related. Look here, this table uses direct query and cannot be shown. This table uses direct query and cannot be shown because the data are available on cloud. Without importing the data, it simply imports the metadata. You just think, it imported only the columns of this table. So this is called live connection. What is that? Live connection. I'll just type it here. Live connection. So in the case of live connection, the account table does not store a second copy of the data into my Power BI memory. The data will still remain in my cloud. The data for the account table remain in cloud only. This data are, look here, I just click on the data here. For the account table data, you can see it here. This data is there here only. This entire data was not, this data was not imported in my Power BI desktop. Rather, only the metadata of that account table got imported. This is called live connection. So in this case, the data kept in the data source itself. What is the data source? The dataverse. This is my data source. In that case, if I create a visualization, this is my visualization, right? In my case, the visual is pie chart. The same visual I am going to use it. Now I am going to drag and drop the same columns, the name column. Look here, I just drag and drop the name column to this pie chart, and then number of employees. I'm going to drag and drop this here. Look here. Now the data, now you might be wondering, the data was not available here. When I went to the data view, when I clicked on the account table, the data was not available. And I told you only the metadata will get imported here. Then from where the data comes? This data comes from the cloud. That means the visualization, in this case, the pie chart queries the data source every time from Power BI. For example, if you create another visual, if you want to use some other chart, right? So for that chart, it will query from the cloud. Okay, got it? So this is what live connection. There are three types of live connection. There are three type of data sources supports live connection. That is what I told you a while back. Live connection. There are three type of data sources. Live connection is supported. One is this, we can say the database. The second one is this one, the SQL server, SSAS, SQL server analysis service. And the third one is, SQL server. Okay. For these three, it supports the live connection. So what is the advantage of live connection? See, in the first case, first time I use the import mode to load the account table data into my Power BI desktop. I created a second copy. When I use the import, I created a second copy. That means when you use import, the data is available on cloud and also the data is available on local Power BI desktop. Entire data of account table got imported here. The physical data got imported along with the column name, along with the metadata. The entire account table data got loaded into my local Power BI desktop. In this case, oddly I have 10 records are there. If I have millions and millions of records, it takes longer time to import the data. I don't want to import the data into my local Power BI desktop because it is a duplicate. Other problem is with the import mode is, supposing let's say you imported the data, listen, after you imported the account table data into your Power BI desktop, some other user is going to make changes or is going to add few other tables in this table. Is going to add few other records into this table. This is somebody, right? Somebody else. Let's Radha, you have imported this data into your local Power BI data. All the data from your cloud got by 10 a.m. you imported the data. By 10 a.m. let's say 10 records are there, you imported it. By 10:30 a.m. some other user, they are inserting additional 5 records. When you go in that time, by 10:30 am, when you go and check it here on cloud, in the account table, you will find 15 records. But 10 am, when you imported, only 10 records were there. That the newly inserted records, it will not be visible here. Okay. And also the same thing is applicable in SQL Server, right? So let's say instead of in this case the source is the Dataverse, right? Cloud source. Instead of accessing the cloud source, let's have another table. Let's say the account table that is there in my SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server. In that case, also you have two options. One is import mode and the direct mode. I don't want the entire data to be duplicated by copying those data from table or from the cloud to my local Power BI desktop. Instead, let the data be there in the cloud. Whenever I need it, let my visual, in this case the pie chart, go and query the data from that one. Okay, whatever the data that if you establish a live connection, including the 5 new records, for example, by 10 a.m. when you imported, which you imported by 10 a.m. Imported by 10 a.m. At that time 10 records were there, right? So for this 10 records only, it will show the it will show the data in this visual like this. What if somebody inserted the data by 10:30 a.m. right? Inserted new data on cloud, right? Insert new data for the account table on cloud. That newly inserted or 5 new records. I say 5 new records for the account table on cloud. What will happen is these 5 new records, whatever inserted, it will not be visible here because you imported this table 10 a.m. After you imported the data, someone else, they inserted 5 additional records into this account table. But by 10:30 am, 15 records are there. The 10 plus 5, 15 records are there in cloud. But with 10, but when you have the live connection, the advantage is you don't have to create a duplicate copy of your cloud data into your Power BI desktop once again. And also the live, whatever the new records got inserted, that also will be visible. You can test it with SQL Server. Okay, simple thing is you can connect, because in the SQL Server, I'll give you some demo database. You can install the demo database on your SQL Server. That demo database has more number of records. With that, we can test it out. So who has a question? Someone raised the question. Yes, Simon. Yes. Why didn't you type it in the chat? Or I can probably enable you to ask this question. Yes, Malati, or you can go ahead. Malati or someone else. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. So am I audible?
So I wanted to ask on this live connection is, what about if you got other databases which might not be SQL Server, for example, Oracle. Can this live connection also happen?
Simon, your voice is breaking. Is it okay if you can type it in the chat window? Your
Hello?
voice is not clear. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it is clear. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm asking on the live connection, you said the supported database SQL Server. So I was asking, what about if we have got another database, maybe Oracle, which is not SQL Server?
Yes, that's a good question. So, what if my source system is Oracle, not SQL Server? Isn't it? That's what your question, right?
Yes, sir.
Am I correct? Right?
That's the
Yeah. So the direct connection, the direct import mode was available only for specific database. The Microsoft Azure SQL database and SQL Server SSAS, and only specific database RDBMS only it is allowing. Oracle it is not working. There is a limitation with that. You cannot use all the RDBMS. The direct mode, right? Direct mode is not available for all the type of RDBMS. Oracle you cannot use it. Even MySQL you cannot use it. I tested it. Only for SQL Server and the Microsoft products. I think it is supporting it. Okay, non-Microsoft I don't think so. It is supporting it. Okay, Malati, what is your question? You are trying to ask something else.
Yeah, actually, I'm new to this technology. I'm a non-IT person, so I'm a completely new. So I just done some search, and got the information from the others as well. They said that before starting the Power BI, we just need some basic knowledge of SQL, and so as I'm completely new to the technology, I'm a little bit confused. So where to start and what to start then?
See, not all the customers they are using SQL, but SQL will also be covered. Okay, Malati, we will discuss this offline. Okay, if you can share your contact number, we'll discuss this little later. Okay, I'll explain you little later. All right. So I understood your concern. Okay, I'll explain you offline. Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Because the current batch is going on. They are already enrolled for this training program. Okay. I'll continue with this one, and you just watch for another 30 minutes as a mute spectator. Since you are non-IT, right? So we'll discuss this one little later. All right, fine, thanks.
Yeah.
At present, I'll mute you. Okay, these are the limit. Not the direct mode is not available for all type of RDBMS. Fine. So with import mode you cannot get the up-to-date information, but with the direct mode you can get the up-to-date information. But in that case, what will happen? Every time it will query your cloud data. It query the data that is sitting on the cloud. Right? There will be some kind of latency. Okay, you might be asking this one. In that case, also there will be latency. Yes, but when it comes to data pre-processing, if you want to do some kind of data transfer, for example, you want to remove some records, or you want to do some kind of the data formatting, everything, right? So what you do is all the data transformation you can do it on the source side itself. Here itself you do the all kind of data transformation instead of downloading this data into my local Power BI desktop. And let's say in this case 10 rows are fine. If you have 20 million records, you will be downloading the 20 million records and then you are going to do the data transformation. In that case, what will happen is it will cause a severe bottleneck to your Power BI resources. What do you mean by resources? Resources, memory, hard disk, everything. Okay. So in that case, it is not advisable. Do all kind of transformation at the source system itself. Okay. So in that case, yeah, the same thing is applicable with the SQL Server. If you want to do any data transformation, try to do it, push it to the source. Something like this Power BI. I just show you. This is my Power BI. If your source system is SQL Server, and if you want to do some kind of data transformation, okay, you want to join the tables, and let's say you want to join 3 or 4 tables, right? So those 4 tables have a lot of data in it. Right? Instead of pushing the data to the Power BI, importing all the 4 tables, let's say 4 tables, each table consists of 10 million, 40 million records loading into Power BI, and then you do the join in your Power BI memory, it will consume too much of time, and it will consume too much of Power BI memory resources. Instead, this guy Power BI, what he does is he will push it back to SQL server itself. The data is there in my SQL server itself. Why to copy, load the data from year to year, and then why should I ask this guy to do the data transformation, right? Since that, why to do the data merging here instead? So as soon as you get the if you want to do any kind of transformation, right? So what Power BI, it has some awesome feature, query folding. Okay, even if you do it, see, according to us in the Power BI, the query editor, even if you do the data merging, everything, right? So there is something called query folding. There is a feature called query folding. What Power BI, this guy is smart enough. There is a feature called Power Query Building that is available. It is an inbuilt feature. You don't have to do anything. What Power BI does is, with this feature, right? Since we have this feature, built in as part of the Power BI, it has an intelligence to push it back to SQL. Hey, don't give it to us. This is your job. You do it there itself, and give me the joined, merged data. For example, you have 2 or 3 or 4 files, 4 tables are there. Each table size is 10 million. 4 into 10, how much? 10 million records. All the 10 million records, copying it here to moving it here itself will take longer time. That's not the wise way of doing it, right? So what we do is, instead, this query folding, it automatically takes care. Okay, you do all kind of join. Though in my Power BI, I do join everything. So what it does, okay, it understands this kind of join needs to be done. Left join, right join, inner join, right? And all these things it will understand. So, hey, and what you do is, it generates the SQL, and then it simply generates the SQL and push it back to this the source system itself. Hey, execute, do all kind of merge all these tables in the source system itself, because the data lies here, right? So execute it and send me the consolidated data back to Power BI. After it does the consolidation at the source system, you send it back to Power BI. The query folding is an awesome feature, but again, the query folding has its own limitations. I'm not going to discuss so many things in the very first day itself. At this moment, you just remember, for these 3 data sources, SQL Server, SSAS, and so this one, right? So you can leverage the direct mode. It's something like in our office, right? If somebody is trying to dump more job, let's say somebody is from USA, they send the data to India or Nigeria. By the time you receive the entire data, right, it will take 3 or 4 days by flight. Instead, what you do is you send a SQL query, or you send a small script back to the US guy. Hey, you don't send the 5 gigabyte of data to me. Instead, I'll give you the 2 lines of query or 5 lines of query to you. You execute this query in your server locally and send me the output data. You send me only the output data, that is enough. You understood, right? A simple analogy. Hope with this analogy you'll be able to understand, right? Right? So your script may be 4 lines or 5 lines, right? 4 or 5 lines. Instead of waiting for the 10 gigabytes data to reach your place, simply send your query via your email, or put it in some intranet. Let him download it and execute the query there. Let that query join all these things. Let's say after joining all these 4 tables, my output will be 0.2 million records only, right? So this one, sending back the 0.2 million records, will not take much time. So this is one of the amazing features that is available as part of Power BI. Okay, but again, it has some limitations. We'll discuss that when I cover the query editor that point in time I'll explain it in detail. What are the limitations are there with query folding, and also we will see how we can optimize the query everything. Okay, that point in time, how do I optimize the transformations, everything we'll discuss it that point in time. So now you understood in simple term what is data warehouse. Data warehouse is the cloud based storage to store your data in a highly secured way. Microsoft offers this service. You can store it on their cloud. All the tables, data, secured data, you can store it on their cloud, right? So the database is Microsoft cloud-based storage option. So okay, next one is likewise various other options are available. Okay, Power BI data sets and Power BI work data flows. Power BI data flows, with that we can create reusable component. This is a fantastic feature, data flows, Power BI data flows, and we will go step by step. Okay, I am not going to rush everything because I have a mix of people here, and also most of you are new into Power BI. I will go in a step by, and even analysis sources. SQL Server analysis. Look here, live connect or import data from SQL Server. As I told you, you can create a live connection with your SQL Server analysis service also. I'll also try to show you this one, how to connect to analysis. I installed SSIS, everything is there in my system, and we have something called OData feed also. Okay, and web also, how to import the data, what is blank query, everything we'll see it. We will go. It's already 7 p.m. now. Let's quickly explore what other options, what other type of files we can import it using Power BI desktop, because we are hardly having 1 minute time. So XML, JSON, PDF, Parquet is also Hadoop file, one of the Hadoop related files, and Postgre, all these data files. Okay, and all these types of file, including R visual and R proprietary data, how to import it, and all these type, Hadoop Analytics, HD Insight, interactive query, and Azure Data Lake. Super. So most of them nowadays they are using Azure Data Lake. Okay, and Snowflake's also nowadays getting popular. Snowflake and Vertica and Impala. We cannot see everything. We don't need everything. We will look at the at least right. So 10 different data sources. That is enough. But end of the day, no matter what type of data sources that you are accessing it, once you store any type of data inside, or once you load the data in Power BI desktop, it will be like a table. It will be considered a table. But when you wanted to do any data transformation on this table, when you click on the transform data, which is the Power Query Editor, this is where we do all kind of data cleaning. What do you mean by data cleaning? A simple analysis. Let's you go to market, you buy all vegetables, right? In order to prepare your food, right? All the recipes are needed. You need to clean the vegetables, and you need to cut the vegetables in the appropriate shape. All the cleaning, everything you do it as part of Power Query Editor. You just think at this moment, you relate at this moment with this analogy. Okay, Power Query Editor is to do cleaning. Okay, cutting in the sense those columns that are not relevant to me. In case of any format issue, we need to do some. Look here, the date key. This is not in the proper date format. I want to convert the date format. How can I do that? Right? So all those things, all kind of you need to convert the proper date format. Right? So for that, we use Power Query Editor. It's something like the kitchen. This is where you do all kind of cleaning, all kind of masala, whatever you put it, right. Masala is nothing but your business logic. And then once your data is ready, right, next one is cooking. The cooking part is this one. Okay, so this one is your report. You drag and drop whichever the charts that you needed, and simply you put all the cooked items here, or the cleaned items here. Your food is ready. You just use this analogy for the beginners. For the non-IT people, right? I use this analogy. Maybe it is a stupid analogy.
No.
Got it? Understood, right? So Power Code Editor is to do the data cleaning, and the data model is something like, it is something like blueprint. Before you construct a building, you need to have the proper blueprint. Without blueprint, if you construct the house, what will happen? Right? Gone. So you need to clean the data, and then you need to do the data modeling, right? And then what you do is go to the report view, and then you create the visualization or reports. Anyhow, we will go in a slower pace in tomorrow's session. Okay, I'll slow down the pace even tomorrow's session, so that for the next 2 to 3 sessions, if I slow down, you will be able to understand. And most of you are new one, and you might be wondering where to, how do I use the navigation. Till you become comfortable with the navigation, will slow down. Okay, and then the concept part also will slow down. Okay, don't worry.
So far, Power BI desktop installation, we did it, right?
Yes, yes.
Will you please send recording videos, today's recording videos, so that we will go once again?
Yeah, it will be shared on a daily basis. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay, fine.
And Malati, it will be great if you can share, type your contact number. Okay, fine. So okay, so rest of you, right? We are, from my side, I have done. You have any questions? So far? So going forward, what I will do is, right, just 15 minutes before completion of the session, I will mark for you people for the FAQ, right? If you have any questions, Q&A, right? You can ask me that time. I'll try to answer it in the same session itself. Yes. So someone raised Radha and Malati will discuss it later, because it's a live class. Okay, I will call you later. We'll discuss it. Because I don't want to disturb the current live session. Okay, so we'll discuss it separately. Okay, you call me probably after the session. Anyhow, I'll share this video to you all. You can watch it, and there are some disturbances. There are some, the construction work is going on near my house. What I will do is I will plan